Here are 3 reasons why to subscribe to Fridge Financials on YouTube. Number 1, it is free, which is the best price that you can pay for this kind of content. 2, I am completely transparent with all of my investments. And number 3, I have a variety of educational videos every single week. Now let's get on with the video. What's up, YouTube, and welcome back to another Fridge Financials video. And in today's video, we're going to be dissecting how much money you should have saved by 30 years old. If you're excited for today's video, make sure that you smash the little button, subscribe to the channel if you've not already done so, and turn on the bell notifications for any future uploads. If you tuned into my channel recently, I just had a live stream on Saturday, and I loved all the support, and I hope to continue to bring awesome content. So if you want to watch my live streams and know when I'm going live, please make sure that you turn on the bell notifications so you do not miss out on anything important. Now, I want to start off by talking about this article again by Yahoo Finance, because these always are good articles to bring forth good talking points to kind of see what people are thinking and what I can take away from the information and bring to you guys to help make you be more successful with your finances, right? So this one says, again, how much money should I have saved by 30 years old? Again, approaching 30 is, again, another milestone. Like many 30-somethings, maybe your savings account is a little less than healthy than what you'd like. Or maybe those recommended zeros and commas in your retirement accounts are non-existent. So in this article, they talk about the following. I find that's a good guideline, but it's very difficult for people in their 30s to try to save 20% of their income while juggling a lot of monthly expenses like daycare costs. As an example, usually when you're in your 30s, you have a family, maybe you have a young one and you got to pay for daycare or childcare or those kind of things. And also just something to think about in these days, especially with inflation values still higher than before, things are more expensive than they used to be. And with inflation probably going up more than what your yearly raise might be from your job, it's harder to be able to afford things and be able to put money aside to have savings, retirements, and those kind of things. So this article talks about some different ways to kind of help out with that one and how to save money to make, our lives a little more comfortable here. So in the 2022 survey of the Consumer Finance Reports, U.S. families have a national average savings of about $8,000 in transactional accounts, which includes checking accounts, savings accounts, or money market accounts. So on average, about $8,000 in your 30s. Not a lot, obviously. You want to have, that emergency fund. You want to have money for bills. You want to have money in your financial investment accounts and those kind of things. When it comes to 401k balances, data indicates that most Americans under 35 have just started to build retirement with an average of about $30,000 in their retirement fund. Now, I will tell you right now from my personal experience, my retirement account is nowhere near $30,000. Right now, it's at about a little over $10,000. But again, that's because I have also money in my own individual brokerage account, which has a lot of money in there as well, which I would hopefully want to use for retirement someday as well. So just because my retirement account through my job is only a little over $10,000 does not mean that my retirement account in total is only $10,000. Again, I'm treating my individual brokerage account as also something to use for retirement down the line. So as we're looking through this, so here's a nice step-by-step guide to prioritizing your savings at 30 years old here. Again, don't panic because you're still in your 30s. So, time is on your side here in this case, and they're going to talk about that a little bit later on. Your first step, though, is to focus on paying down credit card debt. Now, with the average credit card debt being thousands of dollars, we can even look it up and talk about what the average credit card debt is. The average credit card debt. So, average credit card debt, oh my God, that's consumer debt. So, the average credit card debt in America is $7,951, which is funny enough that it's about $8,000. And the average savings accounts or transactional accounts is also $8,000. So it's kind of like basically you're at zero at that point. So the average credit card debt is about $8,000. Now, with that idea being in mind here, here's their logic behind pay down your credit card debt first, because your credit card essentially has a higher interest rate than what you would have in investing the money in the market. So if you have a retirement account where you're conservatively getting 5 to 6% return, and again, that's probably calculated after inflation as well, because the S&P 500 returns about 10 to 11%. But again, factoring in inflation, take away about 3% on that one, maybe give or take a little bit more or less. But again, if you're paying on a credit card with 11% interest, you're losing money, because here's the math behind it, right? So again, we can pull up a calculator and I can show you the math, and it's very astonishing that people still think about having money in retirement accounts and everything like that when you have a credit card debt first. So imagine that you had that $8,000 in this case. You have $8,000 that you want to put into that retirement account, the investment account, and say you get even 8% return. So you get 8% return. An 8% return will give you $640 in a yearly basis period for $8,000, which again is like, okay, great, $640. Now, say you have that $8,000 in credit card debt and you're paying, 11%, 12%, some even go as high as 20%, 30%. In that year, you are paying $880 in interest on credit card debt as opposed to getting paid $640 in interest from an investment. So you are still down or losing $240 because you're choosing not to pay off your credit card debt. Again, the loans with the higher interest need to be paid off first, so that way you don't have to spend as much money on it, because again, those higher interests give you, it makes you pay more money. You pay more money, as a result, allows you to not invest as much as you'd like to get those returns in the long term. So that's the first thing that, they recommend, and I completely agree. Paying down those higher debts definitely could benefit you for your retirement, because once they're paid off, the money you're saving from not paying that interest can be then thrown into your retirement accounts and can start to earn and give that compound interest, which is the good kind of compound interest, not the bad kind, like in credit card debt, student loans, those kind of things. All right. Step 2 is to start an emergency fund. Again, an emergency fund is one of those things that you need to have, in case anything comes up. So emergency funds are always a thing. Those recommend to have like 3 months of expenses, 4 months of expenses, maybe even 6 months of expenses in case you lose a job, there's a car that breaks down, something comes up that you need to pay for. You don't want to be struggling for cash. You also don't want to sell off your investments. That is also a major reason as to why you should have an emergency fund, because if you don't have an emergency fund and say that your car breaks down and you need to pay for it to get to your job to make money, you might be like, I got to sell off my investments. I'm going to sell off things in my portfolios in order to pay for this, which again makes you lose the value on your investment. So the emergency fund is helpful so that way you don't have to worry about touching your investment account. We don't want that ever to happen. And that is why emergency fund is really important. Again, you can Google it. Usually it's like 3 months, maybe 4 months of expenses just to have on standby in case, again, even if you got like laid off, whatever chance it is. Step 3, start some savings goals, right? Start coming up with savings. Clearing a hurdle like 20% of your annual income feels overwhelming. But the rule of thumb is to not get overwhelmed, right? And again, try to break it down slowly but surely. This is an interesting thing that I read earlier, which is that the average or the median household income, this is not the average, the median household income was $74,580 before taxes. To save 20% of that, you will have to put away $14,916, which again is a monthly goal of $1,243 or $310 a week. Now, when you break it down that way, it gives you a more precise calculation as to what I need to put aside for every paycheck, for every month, for every year to help build that 20% savings on how much, you want to put 20% away. Great. You have it to break it down step by step. Does make it a little bit easier. Now, 20%, depending on what you're saving for is obviously the goal, right? So if you're saving for a house, sure, 20% is probably going to be a good number for it. If you already have a house, maybe not as much. Maybe you want to put more of that towards investments instead of towards savings. Because again, money in a savings account is losing money faster than money in an investment account because of inflation. And banks with interest rates are a little bit lower. You can still put money into a high yield savings account, but it's not always going to be beneficial. And again, you have to have it for a certain time period there. The rates can always change. So me personally, I would probably put more like 10% aside, maybe 15% aside, and I would do more, put some money into my retirement account to kind of build the retirement up a little bit more as well. But that's just me. Step 4 is to automate transfers to your savings accounts. Again, it's likely that your 401k is funded by a direct deposit for your paycheck. And, it just makes life easier when things are automatically set up for you. A lot of people do it, and I don't do this, which I feel like I should look into doing, is to have automatic investments and have money coming right out of your bank accounts every week, every month into your investment accounts, into those retirement accounts. So that way it's automated. You don't have to worry about it and you just know it's there and you can invest it. Definitely a really, really, nice little thing to have on top of it. Step 5, I think, is one of the more important steps, which I feel like I should have been an earlier step, but it doesn't matter the order, I don't think, right? Compound interest is essentially free money that you earn from saving some of your pre-retirement income in an interest-bearing account, like a savings or a money market account, also into an investment account if you put it in like the SPY ETF or those kind of ETFs. So listen to this example as to how compounding interest works, because a lot of people still don't understand compounding interest. And if this example doesn't help you see it, then we'll have to go through a lot more of the numbers, but hopefully this brings the awareness to you about what the importance of compound interest is and why Albert Einstein calls it the 8th wonder of the world. If someone starts investing $7,000 a year at age 35 and they earn a 7% interest rate, which again could be from different investments, they'll have a total of $707,511 at the age of 65. Not a millionaire, but again, a lot of money. You're only putting in $210,000 essentially, because 30 years, 7,000 years, you're putting in $210,000 and you're getting back $707,000. So it's a really, really good return, and it really helps grow your money. Now, somebody who starts 10 years later at the age of 45 and they invest $15,500, so more than double a year than what the person was at 35 with the same return, they still have about $50,000 left at around $657,000. The longer you wait, the more you have to save. And that cannot be any more true of words to use. And I started investing, I think I was getting invested in late, and I was at like 25 years old. And, so starting now, again, the longer you wait, the more you have to save and put aside, and the more you delay your retirement if you want to retire and actually be able to enjoy some of your life and not just work your entire time. So that's just unbelievable for me, and again, this person here, again, if you're investing $15,000 for 20 years, you're investing $300,000 for $650,000 back, compared to the other person, which is $210,000 for $700,000. So compound interest is your best friend. If you haven't started investing yet and you want to look into investing, make sure you do some research, watch some of my YouTube videos if it helps you out with it. Follow me on Instagram at Fridge Financials. That is also there for you as well. Again, not a financial advisor, but please, think about it, consider it. It does really help out with pushing you towards your financial goals. Step 6, maximize your employer match retirement plan, right? So, if they match you dollar for dollar up to 3%, make sure that you are absolutely taking advantage of that. Consolidate retirement accounts, again, another thing as well. So this article here hopefully brings to light the important ideas. Paying off high debt first, having an emergency fund, set some goals, automate your accounts, use compound interest, and maximize your retirement plan with your employee match. Those are essentially some very, very strong ideas that I think would be definitely a great starting point, and it definitely will help you with the younger you are in age. So that is my opinion on it. Thank you so much for watching today's video. If you made this fun of video, make sure that you like the video, subscribe to the channel if you've not already done so, turn on the bell notifications, leave any comments you have down below. We've just hit 30 subscribers. We're now at 31. Our next push is for 100. I am really hoping to get there by June. So if you're not subscribed, feel free to subscribe. It is free of charge, of course. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. You're making some money in the markets, and I will see you guys in the next video.